What's up, YouTube? ODST General back again with another Operation Trebuchet news update. So it's not been too long since the last major update to the game, but there's already quite a bit of news to cover, so we're going to go ahead and get right into it. I did just recently speak with one of the commenters on one of my older videos from a couple of years ago, saying he loved the longer format of some of my videos. Unfortunately, in regards to this specific video, we're not going to be following that format, or at least I'm going to try my best to avoid it, just because these are better shorter. So the first thing I want to talk about is the new DMR. So we're getting a new model of the DMR. Zephyr Souza's working on this. This will be added, at least as is the plan now, as an extra DMR that will be available to the players. I'm not sure exactly which model this is based off of for the DMR. You guys probably know. Comment in the section if you know for sure. It might even be based off the same model, just a newer version of the model. So I guess we'll end up seeing that eventually. This will be added into Optre Z when it's in a more completed state. Right now it's considered very work in progress by Zephyr. So we'll be seeing more of this as it gets developed here. Not much else to say about that. It's the DMR. We'll see it when it gets here. Up next, we have the MA37 ammo counter. So this is a non-textured, modeled version of the ammo counter. I'm not sure if the config is set up for this or not yet, or when we'll be seeing this, and whether or not it will be added into Optre Z. Zephyr Souza is also working on this model, just as the DMR, and as she did the current work on the MA37. This is definitely something I'm looking forward to. This is what really sets aside the MA37 from the regular assault rifles, just the very squared off angular design of this ammo counter. So it's going to be very nice to have that in. Plus, it just will be nice to have an ammo counter on the MA37 at all. And then lastly, thing for Zephyr that we've got here is a firefight testing mode. Now, I should have the details in the comments for this. If I don't, forgive me. They are going to be available on Reddit, and then she'll be making some posts on Discord, I do believe. So the idea behind this is Zephyr is working on a new game type as well as the other models and stuff. It's going to be her own version of Firefight. I haven't played it yet. There will be some testing. I believe next week is when she's got this set for, or maybe the 7th of next month or something. Anyways, like I said, the details are available on Reddit. And anyways, the specifics of this are is that it's going to be a firefight. You'll be able to land in troops, probably by Pelican, into an area. You'll be fighting either insurrectionists or UNSC, and Pelicans will be dropping you off into the area, fighting wave by wave. If you want to upgrade weapons, things like that, you'll actually have to purchase them with currency earned throughout the firefight mode. At this time, supply drops, things like that probably won't be available, but we'll end up seeing as she develops it and does some rebalancing and tweaking to this. Beyond that, then we've got some stuff to talk about with Big Wilk here, so let's go ahead and move on over to his stuff. So the first thing that he's working on that I've got to talk about is the Pelican magnetic loading script. Now, most of you guys have probably seen this. I know there's still a few people sling loading vehicles and stuff. I do believe this is now actually included automatically on the Pelicans as of the newest update. I haven't actually just tested it straight off the bat, but basically you should be able to take a Warthog or a Scorpion tank or whatever and just load it right onto the back of the Pelican. His purpose of this is just trying to make it a little bit more, either more realistic or a little bit more lore-friendly, a little bit more accurate, and he's just been kind of debating that and what to do. So there's a few screenshots we have here of just him working with different vehicles, trying to get the clipping avoided, things like that. So the first one's a Scout Warthog, as you can see. Second one, we've got the standard Warthog, which is just kind of hovering there. This is actually more accurate to Halo 1, where I believe the turret of the Warthog should just be barely touching the magnet, and the rest of it's pretty much floating through space magic. It's 2552, I guess, why not? And then there's another variation, which this one just, it triggers me personally, is the Warthog's actually attached to the magnet through the front of it. That seems like a safety hazard, first of all, for a lot of reasons. It doesn't really look right at all, or seem to work. But hey, if it does, good for them, I guess. So there's just a few different screenshots of that. Then the next big thing he has that he's working on with the Pelicans is a Pelican Loadout system. So this is supposed to be, sorry about that, guys, Discord's going crazy. I've got a couple people messaging me. actually regarding that firefight testing. Anyways, we've got Pelican Loadouts coming, so basically you'll be able to land the Pelican on a pad or something. I'm not exactly sure how this will work, but you're supposed to be able to set it up, land it, and then you'll be able to drop supply pods down onto the ground, and you'll be able to pick out which supply pod it is and do all that stuff with it. How this will eventually work, because they want to make it a little bit more advanced and change some of the stuff around, I don't exactly know all the fine details for it. It's still very work in progress. This is just basically the UI for it. So we'll find out more of that when it gets a little bit closer. Alright, this is a big one. I know a lot of people have been complaining about this. HEV drop pods crashing when you hit the ground. I know there's a lot of people who haven't experienced this at all, haven't run into this problem. That's great. I am happy. I haven't either, but there's a lot of people who have complained about this happening. Hitting the water, hitting buildings, things like that are causing crashes as soon as you touch down, as soon as you open the drop pod, things like that. Haven't experienced it, like I said, but it is a problem for a lot of people. That supposedly has been fixed. Wilk says he's fixed that, and he's just needing to do some model improvements of some kind, I do believe, to the drop pods from what it sounds like. I don't know if that was the issue or not, but hopefully we'll be getting a slightly better looking drop pod. I already think it's a pretty good looking model, but he says he's going to make some modifications to it. Unfortunately, I don't have the reference to that, but there it is. So along with that stuff, he's got some new mining structures he's worked on. This was actually announced just prior to the actual update coming out. I just never got around to showing this off to you guys, so I'm going to show it off now. The first thing is we've got a big blue building. It's all rusted up. This one will have an actual interior to it, and you guys will actually see that here as we click around. There will actually be, I believe, a couple different interiors that you can actually select and put into this building that's going to make it somewhat modular. So this first one's makes it look like quite a large building. It's hard to get a sense of scale without actually having a person in there. But you can see there's one staircase, second staircase, third staircase, 4 staircases. And you gotta assume that that staircase at minimum is the height of a person, probably even higher than that, I would imagine, because each of those goes above a doorway, and you gotta figure the person has to be able to fit through the doorway. So that gives you a little bit of sense of scale about the size of this building. It's gonna be quite large. So I'm very excited about having that. We've got another shot of the building interior here. You can see that main exit door that we saw on the exterior of the buildings there. There's a wall that goes to like an interior staircase that wraps around into the building. It's kind of hard to tell where that goes. And then there's supposed to be some sort of cargo bay door, which is partially textured, it seems. That's probably the building exterior there. I'd imagine that door, whatever it is, opens up, and then you can just drive into like a cargo bay or something. Pretty slick looking building. I'm very excited to have that. Next up, we've got Jedi Nick's models. So this is just a explosive timer like you see in ODST. These are like what Mickey's placing onto the to the bridge to detonate it, and he places it down, pushes the code in, and I believe you turn and rotate the explosive. I don't think we've seen any of Nick's models in game yet, but they're getting better and better the more he does them. I'm really hoping to see some of these in game because he's been doing some really cool stuff. Even though it's kind of basic and minor stuff, it'd be really awesome to actually get to see this in game, especially something like this. I've been waiting for explosive ordinances like some of the mines and stuff. The Type 14 I tried to model, they never got working. The M168 here you see a lot of different stuff from the Halo lore as far as mines and weapons go that would be kind of fun to actually get into the game. I do believe that was all that Nick had that I had to talk about. Let me just double check that. Let's just go through some of the pictures I have here real quick. Sorry about this, guys. So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, there is one. There's this ONI chair, ONI chair, whatever. People get triggered when I say ONI, even though it's technically accurate. Just a basic Halo chair. I think they talked about him removing the texture with the ONI logo. And hopefully we'll be seeing that added in. Now, for a lot of people, that's going to be useless. For me, making maps and stuff, for a lot of mission makers, that will be nice to have some extra lore-friendly decorations that we can place into the maps just to give it more of a Halo feel. So up next, we've got the Alkane Turret, the M247H, that's the Halo Reach turret that was accidentally released. So here's an image of it in-game. I might even add some footage later after going to actually edit this all together and put it in. We'll take a look. Now this is supposed to be a work in progress, so we'll see how it ends up being upon final release. Well, I'm not sure how it will turn out, but it's quite a powerful weapon. I did some testing when this first came out. I threw up about 15 to 20 guys versus this one turret, and partially surrounded the thing, and it killed every single one of those people by itself. So we'll see what happens with this. Definitely needs to be toned down, that's for sure, but we'll see what happens. Up next, we've got Drake Darren's. He's got a bunch of Forerunner stuff, so I don't think I talked about this in the previous release, and even if I have, I'm going to go ahead and just post it again because I got it in here, and that probably means I didn't talk about it. So Drake Darren's got a bunch of Forerunner stuff he's been working on. He's the guy who's been working all the first contact stuff. He's the primary and almost sole developer for the mod. There's a couple of people who are somewhat helping him out, but he's the main modeler. But he doesn't know any config stuff, which is why it's taking so long for this stuff to get out. So while he's waiting for the stuff to get put in game and added in, he's been working on some Forerunner structures, which is awesome. The first one we've got up is the structure from Valhalla. It looks like it's pretty accurate recreation. The only thing that's missing is the airlift in the center there, but you can still see the part of the structure that surrounds that's right there and ready to go. Not much else to say about this. This is obviously textured. This looks like it's placed in Substance Painter. Obviously, it won't look quite as good once it actually gets in Arma. Unfortunately, it's just the way Arma works. Looking forward to seeing some Forerunner stuff in, though. That's going to be really nice. Probably the biggest addition for Foreigners, though, is the Sentinels. The primary fighting force. These things, I believe he said they're going to work like drones, if I remember correctly. But supposedly they won't need operators. I don't know how that's going to work. So we'll see. I know that's a very theory-driven thing. He said he hasn't actually worked out 100% how these will ultimately work, but I think drones was the big thing he was looking at doing. I don't know how well drones will actually work as far as something like the Sentinels, but they're probably best suited to that task because Sentinels are kind of a weird thing the way they fight. It works great for a game like Halo. Arma, not so much, where it's pre-coded. Arma doesn't really have any highly agile flying enemies that can shoot lasers. Moving on, we've got the Forerunner Enforcer, which is a larger Sentinel. I believe this is the one that they use to destroy vehicles in the games, if I remember correctly. And it's able to generate a shield and stuff. So this thing is going to be pretty large. Not a fun enemy to fight. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It's one of those things that's still up in the air. There's still a lot we don't know about. Like I said, these are basically just models. Nothing's really been implemented yet. Beyond that, we have the Falcon/Katana. Now, this is the Falcon's end game, but this was the actual original name for this vehicle, was the Falcon. Optre's naming it the Katana just because the Falcon's obviously taken already. This is going to be a fixed-wing fighter craft. I think this is pretty much just solely on White working on this project here. The one shot we have of it in-game is an untextured variant flying around using temporary ammo to blow up buildings on a earlier version of Madrigal. So that's the only shot we have of this thing. It's still a very neat-looking craft. I think it's got forward-swept wings. It's got kind of that split tail fin deal going. It's just very, very different looking. Not much else to say about it right now. I haven't heard anything about it for quite a bit here. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll hear more about it soon. And then the final thing I have to talk about is the Elephant. So the Elephant's one of the biggest screw-ups from this update. Just broken in so many ways. Supposedly White's got it all fixed. As far as I know, everything's working on it. He's still working on a couple of things like getting vehicle and vehicle loading set up properly. But it's not going to crash your game, it sounds like, anymore. He's got the weighting, I think, is set up properly. So it should be all good to go, pretty much. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that these updates get implemented in short order once they're ready to go. We're not waiting a year for the Elephant to get fixed. or, you know, a year to stop drop pods from crashing people's games, because that just ruins it. It kills it for everybody. So hopefully soon we'll see fixes for that. Other than that, though, I think that is everything we have to talk about today. So you guys take it easy. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one. ODST General back again, guys. I'm sorry if my mic sounds different. After recording this yesterday, there was a couple things that I had updated this morning, and one thing I forgot about, so I just wanted to cover that stuff real quick, and then we'll actually really wrap up this video for real. So the first thing is a Operation Trebuchet Liberation update. So this update comes from Sukar, and basically the big thing it adds to Liberation is the ability to fight Operation Trebuchet enemies, not just vanilla enemies like CSAT and things like that. So this means Operation Trebuchet rebels, you know, Rebel Front insurrectionists will be in the game. The other big thing it adds is new things to the forward operating bases, so new structures, things like that, that you'll be able to place down. I'm not sure if there's any compatibility issues or anything that Liberation was facing, none that I'm aware of, at least as far as our personal server was concerned. I haven't tried out this new mission quite yet, but I'm looking forward to trying it out. Check in the comments below to get the link to that. In addition to that, Luca has updated his Crush the Rebellion campaign. I covered a little bit of that before. I don't know if I ever got the whole way through the campaign on my channel, but basically it's just a mission where you fight the rebellion off, and there's a few different missions for it. It's a pretty interesting campaign. It's got some pretty bad bugs in there, and they're pretty hard to get through, but if you can stomach them, it's a very awesome campaign beyond that point. There's some pretty cool cinematic stuff, a few different things in there that I really like about it, especially in the beginning part of the campaign. At any rate, he has updated this. The big update that really just comes with this is a compatibility thing just to work with the newest version of Operation Trebuchet without issue. Sadly, no bug fixes, anything like that. And then lastly, the kind of the big thing that's getting added in here that I forgot to include yesterday is some stuff from Warthon. So that's basically just kind of talking about the brutes a little bit. Now, as you guys know, I have waited and waited and waited and waited for the Covenant. You know, and I've kind of talked a little bit about the Covenant slowly getting added into the game here, and it's just not happened. You know, but we've got Morthon stepping up with his brutes. We've got Zephyr Souza coming in with the grunts and the jackals she's slowly working on. We've got those updated elites, but sadly none of it's been implemented yet. Morthon's probably the closest. Well, I shouldn't say that because the elites are finished, modeled right now. They just need to be implemented in game, but who knows when that's going to be. As far as I know, Morthon's putting pretty much all of his modeling commitment into the brutes. I could be mistaken on that. He always has an ace or two up his sleeve, it seems, so you never quite know what's going to come from him. But like I said before, I love all of his stuff. I love that he's adding the Halo 3 stuff and the Covenant War stuff. This is all stuff I've been really waiting on. But anyways, he's gone back and he's redone the brutes. Now, he just didn't like the way the brutes looked in game. He said they didn't look quite right in their armor. And so he's gone back and he's redone them. As you guys can see, this first image on screen that's been up here for a minute should be of 3 side-by-side brutes. The first one would be the first implementation of the brutes. The second one, second implementation. And the third one, the current implementation. Now, obviously, looking side-by-side, you can definitely see differences. And I personally think the third one looks closest to the Halo 3 variations. Without their armor. And it's kind of hard to tell that sort of thing, and I know that it might be just you guys don't really care, you just want the brutes now real bad like I do, but ultimately this does make them a lot better. Now, from what he has said, the hard work is out of the way as far as getting everything set to go, so it's just some minor modeling details, things like that he's going to be working on. He said he's going to work on these probably a few hours a week at least. So hopefully before too long we'll have brutes in game. I'm really looking forward to it. If you guys have seen my past videos, I don't have the link to it. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go searching for it. In one of my past Operation Trebuchet videos, I actually showed off the brutes in game, kind of walking around, just real basic walking animation. Still very neat. I'm really looking forward to having a tough enemy like the brutes to fight, especially because the brutes don't normally have shields, so they'll actually feel a little bit more proper in armor than the elites currently do. At any rate, Let me know what you guys think. As you can see, there's a couple other another screenshot rolling through here. Let me know what you guys think of the brutes, of the missions that I mentioned, and any of the other stuff in the previous recording that I did. And I do apologize once again about the audio difference. Just wanted to get this in here and get this added in before I finished up everything. You guys have a good one and take it easy.